Welcome back to WrestleQuest, and today we're talking about pro wrestling storylines that some feel went too far. And Vinnie Mac, did he bury people with storylines? And I mean, we know the way he did a lot of WCW guys just didn't want to see them thrive. But what we're going to get into here is a bit more darker and sinister than that.
It's you, Renner! I'll tell you what I think you are. You're a couple of little baby punks. Punks? Punks? No way. No, old man, listen up. You're out there pushing your DVD. You want to relive some of your past glory? We'll give you the chance. We're the WWE Tag Team Champions. And we'll give you a shot at the Great American Bash for the WWE Tag Team titles. It's going to be Eminem against the Road Warriors. Hey, Joe. We can't do that, Joe. Why not? Because his partner's dead.
So I saw this going back across the timeline, kind of viral. A lot of people were talking about it like, man, they really did this? This is foul. And there's another clip out there with Edge. I forget. Comment if you guys remember who it was where Edge was talking about Eddie's dead. Was he saying Eddie's dead to someone? I can't remember. It's slipping my mind at the moment. The second I finish this video, it'll probably come back to mind. And speaking of Edge and Eddie, you know, the whole La Familia storyline, a lot of people thought was in poor taste with the whole Edge and the widow of Eddie Guerrero being in this love affair and all that. But to be honest, it was kind of wild. But personally, I think Eddie Guerrero would have been cool with it and actually would have appreciated it for the sake of the business and good storytelling, good storylines, like keeping it real. Let me know if you agree or not. But you see here, LOD, the Road Warriors, obviously in WWE, Vince always has to, like we were talking about with the WCW guys, he'll shit all over them a lot of the time because that was the competition. That was his arch nemesis, you know, and or tweaking certain gimmicks like Vader almost became Mastodon, but he stayed Vader. But Shawn Michaels put an end to Vader real quick. You know, all these little side conversations. Make sure to leave your comments and thoughts about all of it in the comments section. Subscribe to the channel. Once again, WrestleQuest over here. We're just talking pro wrestling, old stuff, new stuff, everything in between. Eventually, we'll get to live streams where you can call in. You know what I'm saying? So help me build this community up. Support the platform and come talk pro wrestling with me. But, you know, LOD, obviously, like I was saying, they were the Road Warriors, massively over before they got to WWE. Many look at Doom as the the WWE's Road Warrior ripoff. And obviously, we ended up getting LOD because Vince had to tweak the name and put his McMahon touch on it and all that against Doom. And you know, the LOD was part of some good storylines and stuff, but they were kind of in and out of the company. They didn't always see eye to eye on business with Vince McMahon, as a lot of people don't. But here was the LOD 2005 incarnation. Now, let's not forget, before this, when they came back, when the Attitude Era was kicking off, right before the Attitude Era, you know, and then were there when it was really jumping off, and a lot of it was them getting buried. I mean, they agreed to do all this stuff. Sometimes people agree, like, what am I going to do? But the Road Warriors, or LOD, seem like the kind of dudes to speak up or, you know, refuse to do certain business and, like, decency wise, you know what I'm saying? There's doing business, going out there and doing your job, and then there's just going out there and doing some bullshit, you know what I'm saying? But it always kind of felt like McMahon, some of the stuff that you watched happen with them is like, damn, you know, what, they did this, you know what I'm saying? Because the New Age Outlaws humiliated them, shaved off their mohawks, beat him down. One of, I forget who it was, Hawk or Animal, one of them who was having addiction issues. They used that as a real life storyline and had Draws come in and become the third member of LOD, who eventually took his spot. They just did some wild things that some feel really hurt their legacy. Then they had the breakup. They came back as LOD 2000. I don't know. It just kind of, what do you think, everyone out there? Do you think it hurt their careers or helped, or it's just like it is what it is? Or do you feel like Vinnie Mac kind of felt some kind of way towards them or something, was taking it out on them on WWE programming? But anyways, after all that, everything that happened with the New Age Outlaws and the Attitude Era, they came back very briefly for a one-off against Kane and RVD. This was even worse. You guys remember this? They got the big Road Warrior. Pop showed up and lost in seconds, just squashed by Kane and RVD. It was like, damn, what reason would they bring them back to do that other than to just flat out humiliate them? I'm not saying they got to go over and win, but to lose in seconds, that's like, what the fuck? And then fast forward to here, 2005, where Hawk passes away, and you heard Eminem talking about promoting the DVD and all that. It's like, hey, Hawk's dead. Animal will bring you back real quick. You're going to work with Heidenreich, who, how about Heidenreich, man? At one point, he was supposed to be the guy. They had him going against Taker for the title and all that. But, it just didn't work out. Plenty of interviews and content with him telling his side of the story of what happened with WWE out there in the blogosphere and this internet wrestling community. But they're promoting this DVD and all that, right? Hawk teams up with Heidenreich. I can't remember if they won at the Great American Bash or if it was at a Raw after it or a Smackdown or something, but one way or another, they ended up winning the title real quick, losing it back. And this was all in a matter of months. And Heidenreich was released first, and then Animal stuck around for a little while as the Road Warrior in singles competition, and then was gone. And it was like, kind of feel like WWE just was like, hey, let's make some money with Hawk dying when they already kind of had a choppy relationship. Now, at the same time, right, we're just talking here, just playing devil's advocate. Animal agreed to do all this stuff, but it just always kind of felt like WWE would really shit all over the LOD. Like Vince just never messed with him like that. But getting after all that we spoke of, then you got this clip here referencing his partner being dead, mocking him. I mean, edgy storylines are cool, but just with everything that we spoke of, it just seeing this clip all these years later, and now with Animal deceased as well, both of them have passed on. It just kind of hits a little different watching it. So jump into the comments again, guys. Join the debate on this. Vince, the Road Warriors, the LOD, their time in WWE. It's wild as Animal passed in 2020, but prior to that, he did all kinds of interviews. And I remember him talking about some of the stuff at WWE and disagreeing with Vince and some of the Attitude Era stuff. And I can't remember for sure, but I feel like it definitely kind of left a sour taste with him. I can't remember if he said he flat out regretted it or not, but I don't ever remember seeing him speak about the LOD 2005 and how he felt about it, But thanks for tuning in. Again, subscribe. Look forward to talking to all you guys. And it's WrestleQuest. I'll talk to y'all on the next one.